welcome everyone to Humanities Destiny, our 10th class of the semester. At last, we're going to be taking off and going into space for the next few weeks. And it's also going to culminate with neuroscience and the human brain. I'll explain all of this, but we're really moving on today into a bigger, I think more uplifting place to be. I am using this microphone today, so it should be fine. But if there's any problems, Marie will let me know. And before I get going, I want to make sure that everybody who's on board today has had a chance to identify themselves clearly. So we'll pass the microphone around. Just give your full name nice and clearly in here, and I will make sure the attendance is good. So go ahead.
Ira Butt.
You.
Gigi Ray.
Excellent.
Mackenzie Jones.
Okay. Faith Lynn Bonnet. See? Go ahead. You can say it. I'd rather you say it than I say it. Oh.
Faith Lynn Bonnet.
Nice.
The original, the one and only.
The one and only. You got it.
Sahil.
What? Say that again?
Sahil.
So, okay, this is where I sometimes get tripped up when I'm watching the recordings. Could you just pronounce that really clearly and slowly? Go ahead.
Sahil.
Sahil.
Yeah.
And last name?
Mehra.
Ah, okay. Sahil. Yes, yeah. Piyush. Go ahead.
Piyush Agarwal.
And then behind Curtis, right? Oh, Dylan. Okay, Dylan Gill. Yeah, right. And then Rosh. Najim? Yeah, right, okay, good.
Ronash Najam.
Ronash Najim, and then Archer.
Yeah, Archer.
Good, okay.
Ibrahim Jazil.
Nice.
Bilal Mansour.
Yeah.
Colin Montague.
Mr. Krispy Kreme. You can hold on to that, okay? Thank you, by the way, for lovely gesture last week. It was a good idea. We'll do it again, but next time I'll buy the donuts. Okay. And then we have in the Cosmos Ashley Dunbar, Manjeet, and that's it for now. We shall see, but good. A nice in-person turnout today for exactly what I would hope we would have when it comes to a debate, or when we're going to have some pretty intense interaction today, but we need to kind of slowly get there. Essentially, before I get into review and sort of get us ready, I just wanted to say that in my review of previous classes, I was going through all my notes and making sure I'm on top of things. I noticed that Gigi had said at one point, could we do a debate? And I've been thinking about that, and I thought, let's today start a debate. And I'm going to give you the question that we're going to be dealing with. It revolves around space exploration, and it's a very important debate to have. But I don't in any way want this to feel like this is a fight. But I do want you to get ready that we're going to be continuing to have these kinds of straightforward, honest, intelligent discussions that we have in this class, and that I am always open to being challenged in any way, and that it makes for a much better class when we can disagree, and I am forced to explain things more clearly, and likewise you are as well. So it does help that we have students who have that kind of courage and intelligence to be able to say, well, maybe you're, bringing your biases into the class. And I don't just want to be confirming my bias anywhere. I want to be a good professor who brings all perspectives into a class. So thank you, Gigi, for keeping me on my toes and making sure that I always give enough room for other perspectives. We are in such an incredible period in political history right now, but we're going to move on from that. today, but we're still going to be able to address these questions of what's happening down here on Earth with human civilization, led by the great so-called democratic superpower, the United States. But we have bigger things to kind of address when it comes to space exploration. However, we will not be able to get away from the fact that the United States plays a very critical role in space exploration too. And just to help you understand a little bit more about where this is going in the world today, but we're not going to get into a political discussion yet. Elon Musk has just accepted a position in the Trump administration. Accepted. While his stock has been rising by the billions every day, if you bias, we have to be very conscious of this person now, because this is the person who is all about space exploration too. So we can't avoid Elon Musk. Fortunately and unfortunately, I mean, we have, but he is a remarkable figure in the human story. There has never been a time like this where you have the world's wealthiest person who's just taken a position in the newest administration of a government in which his job is going to be cut government programs and make government more efficient. So there might just be a conflict of interest in here, but we're going to move on, okay? It's just that I wish we could not always have to talk about Elon Musk, but we will at some point today because of space. Yes, Gigi. Okay, grab a microphone, and before we do a little review, and I want Maybe to also speak to something. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to double check that any questions about politics that have been asked in the last class will not be answered.
I will answer them.
Oh,
yeah, well, I'll do my best. I just want to make sure we move on with space, but at the same time, I agree, they weren't fully answered. Okay, so I'm going to absolutely address them. And as a matter of fact, I was going to even suggest, had you been online today, I would say, is there any way you could come in person and then we can talk? So here you are. So thanks, okay? There you go. Okay, so, but we want to really talk about space, but there are questions that have to be answered too, okay? So let's first, I need Mayreen to update you on something before she gets going to an event right now. I would like you to know that the Repair Cafe, do you remember the Repair Cafe I did? It's happening on Wednesday, December the 11th in this room from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the big marketing of it now is starting as of today officially. Mayreen will be somewhere, and you're going to be hearing more about this Repair Cafe in the Global Classroom in December. You may want to get more involved, but can you explain to them a little bit what you're doing over at the pit today? Okay, so please go ahead.
So we're just going to be having a little table set up with items from the Repair Cafe, so some of the posters. And we're just going to promote for students that want to potentially sign up as fixers to be able to have like a little booth here in this classroom, and then if they want to help fix some of the items, either students or people from the community will bring in. If any of you are interested to sign up as fixers, we're going to get a Microsoft form set up, and then you can sign up and then we can kind of go from there. But if you're interested to either be a fixer, or if you just like to share the event with everybody, we're hoping for it to be campus-wide, so we're going to involve students from the Whitby campus as well, because obviously they have like all the vocational programs there. So that will be something we're kind of in the process of getting set up.
So 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you'll be over in the pit today with a table, and Alec Mann from Short History of the World class, he's helping her to coordinate this, and he will be with her, and he's already been getting involved quite a bit in the Repair Cafe. He was at our event that we had at the Toronto Reference Library recently, and so on December the 11th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., this room is going to be filled with people fixing things and people lined up out there with things ready to be fixed, coming in here and sitting down with people who are fixing whatever they need to be fixed. And we're going to turn this into a big fixing laboratory right here. And we're going to use the video wall as well, so that while we're live streaming, we can say to people, if you want to bring your large item that is not possible to be brought here, like a car, open up the hood or a fridge or some big thing, just take your phone right now, oh, hi, you're from, where are you from, Port Perry? And you've got a fridge here? That's a great fridge. Gigi, you're fixing over here. Could you just come up here and take a look at that fridge and maybe help them to fix that fridge? And, she could be talking, and then Gigi goes back to the table and continues the job she's fixing of somebody's computer or lamp or even teddy bear and all sorts of objects that come in, okay? So December the 11th, and I'm going to let the class go early today. We'll just finish at 2:30, so you have a chance to, if you would like, drift over to the pit, and you can see more and get more information from Alec and Maureen, and there will be also buttons and good slideshow going and other information about the event. And so hopefully we're going to find lots of young fixers in the community here. Okay, so. All right, so if you've got to go, I know you got to go. You got me set up. This is great.
Sure.
Yeah,
No worries.
thanks.
No problem.
Okay, so then, before we start on this kind of debate, I'd like to do a little bit of reviewing of what we've covered so far, and also address two things that are coming for you. You have a little more than 50% of your grade ahead of you right now. There's a third assignment coming on November the 19th. It's with 20%, and there's a fourth one, which will be due, I think, on December the 10th. I'll be posting, and that's your big one. And so, in addition, there are continuing discussion posts as well through the next few weeks. So, a lot of your final grade is ahead of you right now. And there's something I want to make sure that you start to think about today, and then we're going to get to the class, space exploration, okay? And so I need to give a little bit of feedback on what I'm seeing so far in the first two assignments, and I'd like to address something called sources, because in the third and fourth assignments, you're going to be starting to do some research, some real research, and I will be expecting to see cited sources in MLA or APA format. And so where you go to get your information is going to be more and more important now. I didn't ask for that in any of the first two assignments. They were just reflections, but now they're going to be reflections with research. So what is a good source of information is something I'd like to talk to all of you about. And I have a very good source I'd like to introduce you to as well, that is something that you can trust. But we happen to live at a time where sources of information can be questionable. And so we need to understand what is a really good source. But first, I just want to give a little bit of feedback. And this may apply to some of you, it may not. I'm speaking to the whole class now, online, as well as all the students watching the recordings. In your second assignment, some of you may not have received a mark yet. Everybody's received marks, okay? Everybody, but some of you may not have yet. And here's the reason why. It's because I'm smelling, but I'm not sure, AI. And AI in a way where I think the student has relied too much on AI to write their assignment. For those of you, recordings, everybody, if you have not received a mark yet, please listen closely. And if you have any questions, you can email me privately and we can talk privately. I'm not going to mention any names. This is just speaking very generally to everybody. People are doing very well in this class in general. I wanted to read out loud some assignments today, but there were too many assignments that got 10 out of 10, and I couldn't pick. Or 9 out of 10. But there were also about 7 or 8 in this class that I haven't put marks to yet. And that's because of this question of AI. For those of you who did not receive a mark and whom I think there might be an abuse of AI on this, the word abuse of AI is a hard word to define today. And I want to tell you all something so you understand that I am not in any way punishing any of you. If you want, I will have you rewrite the assignment, but only after I've determined that it really is an AI written assignment and not your own words. I don't know that yet. You're going to have to contact me and let me know, and I will talk to you privately. But I'm seeing something happening a lot this semester. And I wanted to also consult some of you on this, because for faculty, people who are doing the assessing of students, we've never gone through a period like this in education where it is so easy to, and I'm not saying you're cheating. I'm not saying that there are students who are deliberately going to AI and asking for a pizza, and the pizza is being delivered very fast, if you know what I mean. Give me the pepperoni. Lauren likes a little bit of onion. Well, maybe not. And, thin crust, tomato, and can you deliver it to me in 10 seconds? And then you press submit. I'm not saying you're consciously doing that. But we have this new beast in the classroom, and that is a machine that is right at your fingertips that allows you to submit something to any of your courses, and you might fool your own professors thinking it's you. So I wanted to ask you, the ones in person, what would you advise me to be doing with these suspicions I have sometimes when I read something and I have no way of checking this? I can't use my Turnitin service to check for AI stuff. I can only do it for plagiarism. AI is more sophisticated now. So you can send in something and I can't check it. I can only go from what I'm sensing. So I need some help from all of you. And it's really so that when I do put marks for these students that I'm suspecting are AI and who confirm it in our conversation, then I need to know what should I be doing? What do you think is fair? Okay? So I'd like to have a little bit of that discussion now with all of you. And who is okay with taking notes? Because Mayrene's not, excellent. Could you go over there and make a slide, and would you just type out feedback? Okay? Feedback. Excellent. Okay, so let's get a microphone going over here. Is it Dylan? Yeah, go ahead. And please get some clarification, because even something like Grammarly, which is used by everybody for proofreading, can also be abused. But then the question is, what is abuse? And what is good use? This is really the line. Go ahead. Is it on? Yeah, okay, yeah.
I thought it was Turnitin has a built-in AI generator.
It's not reliable.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Even Turnitin has admitted to that.
Yeah, I thought it came with it. A lot of professors could keep on it.
Yeah.
The same thing.
I'm not using it because it has not been proven for me to be reliable. But I'm getting a good sense increasingly, but sometimes I may be wrong. So I'm not going to accuse any student of anything. I just will, want to talk to that student to make sure. But Faithman, go ahead.
You can try comparing it to the student's discussion question.
Some of the discussion questions I'm starting to wonder too, particularly the reasons, I'm not sure. Some of them are so well written and but they're so correct and they don't sound like they have a student in it, then I start to wonder, is this just pizza
Okay.
or is it real? Yeah.
Another idea, this is something my other professor does, is
Yes.
have them, write it in a Google Doc, give you the link with editor's access, and then check the
I have
time.
194 students. I don't have time.
Then just do the ones you suspect.
And what do you suggest I do? What do you suggest I do with the ones I suspect?
There's like a history of it. Of
Well,
like
here's-
their writing process.
Here's what I normally have been doing, but it's a lot of my time, is I will have the student contact me and then I will speak to the student one-on-one and find out if it's true and then help the student, not punish the student. But it's hard because for students who are remote now, in this, not all students want to even have a phone call. So sometimes it's hard for me to get a student to come in person or even just have a phone call. It all has to be done by email. But email can lead to an enormous amount of misunderstanding if the tone is wrong. So I much prefer to meet the student in person and talk about it. Gigi? Yeah.
I think if, I feel like if the student is doing it more than once, you find, I think there should be a bit of a penalty, especially if after the first time you discussed it and you've kind of found the root of the problem, maybe, they need to work on their writing skills and you've given them opportunities to work on that and they're still abusing AI, I think then they should face some sort of
For sure.
penalty for that. And also, I forget what you just said about,
Abuse or about,
no, you just said something and I was thinking about it, I can't remember.
Well,
Too many students?
here's
too many students, yeah, with the number of students, or that I meet, but they don't always want to meet in person or even a phone call, and so it's hard to, sometimes get the student to talk to.
I feel like when you have suspicions, you should give them a 0. And if they care enough to change that grade, they will come and see you. If you gave me a 0 and I know that I didn't use AI, I would be at my earliest convenience to see you.
I've done that in the past, and it did work. And
It's up to them. If they want to change their grade, they can come and talk to you about it.
here's another.
and I will give the student the chance to do that always. Colin, do you want to? We'll take this. Okay.
Here's another thing, just to solidify your suspicions. I know myself that if I were to do just ChatGPT, whatever, I would not do the entire essay. That feels way too big of a gamble. So some people might nitpick. So when you're reading, see what parts flow and what parts sound like AI. So, like, this section sounds like some Nobel laureate, this sounds like some 8th grader. What the, huh?
Yes.
So you could do that, but I don't know if, so.
That's okay. I'm just going to say one thing, and then I just want to make it very clear to all of you about this whole idea of AI and how we use it. I support AI. I support any technology and any machine that can augment human skills or human development. But I do believe that there's a point where if you let machines do too much for you, you're abdicating something that is so important to being human, and that is your critical thinking. I happen to believe that a lot of people have not been taught properly what writing is. Many people are afraid of writing. There's a thing called writer's block. Many people are intimidated by the act of writing, and they think that when they sit down and start to write, it has to be perfect. What they don't understand, what you may not have been taught, is writing is a process. Writing is learning to understand what you're trying to say. And you need to rewrite and polish in order to get to that point where you are being clear. That's what writing really is. It should be a pleasure. And you should feel a great sense of accomplishment and confidence and satisfaction when you've written something well, because you will then be able to say to yourself, I know what I'm trying to say now. I started and I was confused and I wasn't sure, but I've gone through the rewriting, I've rewritten, I've changed it, and I've gradually polished this and gone through 2, 3, 4 drafts. And I've cut it down as well. And now I know exactly what I'm trying to say. And every word counts. And the sentences all make sense. And I'm being clear. And boy, do I really feel good about this. I can't wait to submit it. But some of you may think that writing is not a process. You may think that writing is just the end product, which is you just have to get it done, get something in, but do it as quickly as possible and get the mark. And what you will miss out on is something that will help you in the long term, in your whole life, when it comes to the ability to express yourself. You will have missed out on that ability to develop your mind, to develop your communication skills, and to develop your own way of looking at things and be more clear. Writing is a process. You need time to rewrite. You need time to work on your sentences. And if you do that, you won't need AI to help you. Sometimes you will need it to do a little bit of proofreading for you. But if you've gone the distance with something with your own mind and your own skills, you will feel that I, the human, me, with my own brain, with my own memory, think about how important memory formation is when you're writing. You have to remember things. If you're working on a word that you have to choose, you have to concentrate on one word or 2 words. You have to come up with that right word. That takes concentration on details. Spelling matters because it's detail. And being able to concentrate on detail makes you a good thinker. It makes you able to understand things more clearly. So please think about writing as fun. Just write down anything in your first draft and then begin to shape it and give yourself time to rewrite. Do not wait until 5 minutes before something is due and then just go to ChatGPT to order up a pizza. You're denying yourself one of the great pleasures of being human, which is you become a deeper and more critical thinker who can concentrate. And Albert Einstein even said, everybody knows who Albert Einstein is. He said, you know what separates me from all the other humans who figure things out is I'm able to hold one thought in my mind longer than anybody. That's what he said. He could sit down at a desk, he could take a walk with his child or wherever, and he could concentrate on one thing only for long periods of time. His mind was not jumping all over the place. He could actually do what people do who meditate. We live in a time where the machines can distract us so much. You can spend all your time inside a machine all day, called your phone, or you could be jumping from this and that, and you've denied yourself that incredible pleasure of being able to solve problems, because problems take concentration. Writing a good sentence takes concentration. Okay? So, you don't need the machines to help you to write. You need them to help you do research, to gather data. And for the international students who are not sure about their written English,
I would rather see that you're struggling with English, and then I can say, good, he needs a tutor. I'm going to make sure that student gets a tutor, than simply delivering me a deluxe pizza, and you've never made the pepperoni, you don't understand what tomatoes are, you don't know what thin crust is, and you just delivered it. I give you 10 out of 10, and you haven't learned anything. It's just pointless. All right. You ready for the question to debate? Okay. So think of writing as a process, Macalcia. Writing should be a pleasure, not a pain. So we're going to move on to our big topic of the next few weeks. And you can see behind me that I've looped a video of our latest and most developed telescope called the James Webb Telescope that has been launched and now is out there in outer space looking further and deeper into the cosmos than any other machine ever has. It's a very complicated piece of machinery. Today, we have to start addressing something about our destiny that is really significant. And from time to time, I will make reference to Elon, but in a positive way, okay? He has said that we are becoming an interplanetary species, that humans are the first creatures on this planet to now be leaving the planet and beginning to seek out other worlds, other planets that potentially we could occupy and develop. And Elon Musk's great goal is to go to Mars. That's what he wants, not the moon, but to Mars. And that's where he's going to be putting a lot of money. And I suspect we're going to see come out of the United States over the next weeks and months, certainly after the inauguration of Donald Trump in January, when his new administration begins, there will probably be a big throttling up, led by Elon Musk, of space exploration, and the Americans to be the first ones to land a human, not a machine, not a rover, on Mars. Americans were the first to go to the moon in the 1960s, and I was alive to see those Apollo missions, and they were amazing. So that's one very enlightened view of space exploration, which is humans are now leaving the planet. And they're going into space, and they're going to be finding ways to occupy other parts of the solar system. That's a view that has been largely developed over the years by a great astronomer, Carl Sagan, in the 1970s and the 1980s when he was at Cornell University. He began to write extensively on space exploration from a very positive perspective. He did the first television series called Cosmos that led to eventually other scientists popularizing space exploration on television. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a name you probably know. When he did his Cosmos series, it was to honor, in some ways, one of his teachers, who had been Carl Sagan, who did the original Cosmos series that I watched when I was growing up. There's a very strong view, led by many people now, that we should be getting into space and we should go fast. And we should be using as many of our resources and as much money to understand more about what resources are available, what it would be like for humans to be occupying other planets, particularly Mars and beyond. And let's go there. But then there's another view. And this view is expressed by these two writers that I will be talking about as well, called A City on Mars. It's an excellent book. And the two authors of this book take a much more critical view of space exploration. And they're not so sure. And they think that a lot of the talk around going into space more and more is hype. And it's largely wealthy people with the tools to go there, wanting to go there, but the common person, or people with less money, or less resources, will not benefit much from this. And they think that a city on Mars is ridiculous. And they think that there are too many problems on the Earth that we have right now that we should be spending all of our time and all of our resources dealing with the problems we have on this planet that have become so existential, whether it's climate change and whether it's artificial intelligence or other problems. Yes.
Okay,
So, question. I want to get your question, then we'll go.
okay.
The question is, should we be going all out on space exploration? And I'm curious to see, as we begin to look at which students are going to go here and over here and over here, how that falls in line with your pessimism or your optimism and how you see humanity's future. It will be really interesting, but what I'd like you to start thinking about, and then we'll go to Calcia, is what side would you put yourself on? If you really see yourself in that kind of Carl Sagan, Neil deGrasse Tyson sort of perspective, which is Elon Musk to, let's get there, let's go. There's so much to see, so much we don't know, and anything we discover is going to help us deal with problems back on Earth. Well, we don't know what it might do, but let's just go there. And then, how many of you might have the city on Mars view? Just hold on a second. I'm not so sure that space exploration really is where we humans should be putting our energies over the next few hundred years. That may be off in the distance, but we have other things you need to deal with. They will go over here. So the ones who want to hold the reins and say, maybe not, over here. The ones who say, let's go, over here. And the ones who want to be and listen, sort of go over to the middle, okay? And then we'll come to Natalia. So let's start moving and see who goes where. And for the same online, here goes, we've got some movement. Gigi's going over here. You're over there. Good, okay? City on Mars.
Wait, which one was it?
This is hold the reins. Wait a minute. This is a lot of hype and a lot of, we got other issues. Okay, and then Calcia's question?
Oh.
Yeah, come. Okay. Come back. You can leave that up there. Okay.
I just wanted to know, right? Like, how many of us have like watched the 100? It's practically a series on Netflix about like practically the Earth got like contaminated and wasn't like livable anymore, and they were all living in space. And like they were living in space for like probably like 99 years or 100 years. And then,
You talking about Wally?
no, the 100, the series.
Curtis, are you,
It's a really good series. Like it's like 100 teenagers down on Earth.
you know? And then
That's basically what's happening right now. But we're just like doing Mars.
Gigi,
I'm on the
and
line.
Faith Lynn? Where are you? You're on the
I'm
line?
on the line.
You're on the line? Okay. Natalia, where would you go? Because I'll handle the notes for now. Which
I'm
side?
Switzerland.
Hmm?
I'm Switzerland. I don't have an opinion.
You said underneath that.
Well,
I'm Switzerland.
yeah, okay.
You can have
Okay, go.
You
don't need to have anything.
For the middle. You could have something
Okay.
for the middle. Yeah,
That's the middle over there, and she's right in the middle. That's good. Okay.
no, I would also.
You're over here, which is space exploration is good. Let's do it. Right? Okay. Same with Jazeel. So we have 2 that are definitely 4. Let's go. 3, which is hold back, wait a minute. And we've got a lot who are kind of here, but maybe as they hear what has to be said, they may eventually go to one side or the other. I want to just say one other thing before we start. I want to thank, again, Gigi for suggesting the debate idea, but we're not fighting here, okay?
I don't want to.
I know, and we're understanding. And make sure things are clear. I want to also give time to answer your questions too, okay? So let's get this going, and then I also want to end a little bit early so you can go over to the Repair Cafe pit event. At about 20 after to 25, I'll make a note. We're going to come back and I can answer your questions, okay? All right. So here's what I'd like all of you to do is the next thing, if this is going to work the way it should, is I'd like you to, I think it's going to be too complicated without Maureen. I wanted you to go over to the boards. We'll just keep it over here. Are you ready to begin to give your positions now, or would you like a little time to talk to each other on this? Are you okay to start right now? Is that, you're good? Okay, great. So I'm going to give over the microphone in a moment, and for those of you, Ashley, Sangam, and Manjeet, please put your positions into the live chat, okay? All right, so the question, should we be going all out on space exploration? As we begin this discussion, I'm going to be making notes of important points that are coming up. So I'm going to park myself over there. All right, so I'll keep the microphone here. We have 2 microphones. Is there anyone particularly anxious to start, like they're just burning to say something? Colin had his hand up first. Okay, then we're coming over here. So Colin is kind of on the line. Colin, could you go stand by the podium and give your position, and let's get going, okay? Great, and I'll get the pen. So here we go. Colin is, yes. I want you to sit and participate. Good, that's okay. Go ahead, Colin.
Okay, so the reason why I'm on the line between, let's stay here and, what's the middle again?
Well, the middle is just, they're a little bit of both.
Little bit,
It's not
okay.
shit, they're-
I'm not half and half, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm more 3/4 and 1/4.
Ooh, so you're definitely holding.
We have a lot of fucking shit to fix.
Okay, well, we gotta speak English, but that's okay. We know the passion is there.
Sorry,
It's okay. It's all right, but let's just not repeat.
we have a lot of stuff to fix.
Well, let me help you think. To be a good human, if we took those 2 words, watch how difficult. Could you put those 2 words into something more specific that really makes us understand what you mean? Because to say those 2 words could apply to anything and everything.
You mean?
But we want to be specific now, space exploration. So what do those 2 words mean in the context of our discussion right now?
We're not,
Go on.
if we are going to take space exploration seriously, I believe we need to do it as a collective, not split, which we are at the moment. And also, we need to have somewhere to come back to if it doesn't happen. So if we screw over this planet, which we are currently doing, it's not a good idea.
So we need more unity.
Unity and stability.
Okay.
But that's the 3/4 on we need stuff to fix.
Yep.
But the 1/4 is, I agree that space exploration is needed, but not now. Like, continue preparing the equipment for it, but don't go all out. Don't go shooting rockets into the sky. We're not ready for it. At least not yet.
And when, Colin, you know, I mean, I'm getting impatient here. I want to get going. How long do we have to wait before we're ready?
So we'll be united, or at least the planet's fixed?
So we're talking centuries?
It depends.
Okay, well, that's a great start, okay? Thank you for having the courage. We'll come over here for a second. I see, and also it's, your name again? Sabi, right. I really like what you're doing today. You are coming into the conversation in a way you haven't. This is excellent. Okay, go for it, Sadia, okay? Just karaoke, okay? Yeah. Sadia.
Yeah, I don't really good.
Oh, turn on the mic. Is it, yeah, it's on. Okay, go ahead.
So, I would also say that I'm not 100% on space exploration, but the most of part of it is I'm on space exploration.
What's that? Just a second. Hold on. You are for space exploration, yeah.
Yeah, but not entirely, but most of the part of it.
Okay.
I can take notes.
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, the Kelsey needs to be in.
Okay, we'll try Gita and then next. Okay. So when somebody comes up, just write your name, okay? And so Sahil, you're saying space exploration right now is good.
Yeah, like I'm more into it, but not totally.
Not good.
So I don't agree with all out, but I agree with something. So
Okay.
what I want to say is, we have done with our Apollo mission. So he was saying we are not ready for it right now. We have to wait. I would not suggest. I would say we have to do it simultaneously. Not go all out, but we have to do simultaneously. If we have not done that, we would not have been to the moon with the Apollo mission. So everything should be in in balance. So we don't have to do everything on space or everything on Earth. We could do both things, like fix Earth things as well, and on the side, like for the NASA, they can focus on space exploration. But for the sustainability and everything, other organizations like the UN or they should focus on Earth, and the budget and everything should be equally divided, because I think like there are many planets in our solar system only which we have not
There are
discovered.
8. Well, 9 if you include a little more
Yeah.
planet.
And
Pluto,
we are
okay?
just
So 8 planets. Yep. Okay.
in our galaxy, which is Milky Way, we are on the outside of it spiral, and this galaxy is huge. Just to get outside the first solar system, it takes 32 years for the Voyager 1 to get out from the heliopause that we have our out cloud, and after the out cloud. So he's now right now in the galaxy, like out of the solar system.
Well, let's do a little. We'll do a little geography in a moment, so we understand about galaxies, about solar systems, and about planets. But just one thing that's critical, and then you said generally space exploration is good, okay, even though it has other qualifications. Why is space exploration good?
Oh,
Why would you say it's good? Sahil?
yeah, because with space we get to know different things about our planets, about the outside world as well. Which some materials that are available outside planets, which you can use in our planet, would be good. Like if have seen, you must have, or everybody must have seen Star Trek or Star Wars.
Sure.
So, like these are pretty good example. Like how AI can be done in a positive way. Star Trek is a pretty good example of that.
Fair enough. This is good. There's a lot. This is excellent. Okay, everybody's. Then we've got this started. I want to make sure it's up. Thank you, Gita. This is great. You keep going. Macalester. Okay, you're sitting here in kind of, huh? You're in the middle. Okay, just tell us what you're thinking, and then we're going to go around. We want to come to some understanding of how should we humans, in terms of our destiny on planet Earth, view space exploration, because we are now living at the time when we have the technology to leave the planet, and we're doing it every day with rockets and other devices and other machines. So this is significant. Mikhail, in terms of our future, go ahead.
Okay, it's spelled MCC ALSSIE. Okay, so I do not. Okay, I agree with space exploration, but still, I think that we can only explore space and we still haven't explored Earth. Because the Earth is how much with 80% water. Yeah, 80% water, and that has not been discovered.
You just have to listen to James Cameron.
It's
You
not-
know, and you know where James Cameron is from? Just outside of Niagara Falls. My mom used to be in a senior's home in Chippewa, and every time I drive there, I would drive by the rock that commemorates James Cameron was born here in Chippewa. James Cameron, the director of Titanic, and who loves underwater sea exploration and has talked so much about that. We need to be doing that. Yeah, he's from Canada.
But like the world has not been explored just yet, and we're saying, oh, there are people, because there are flat earthers, and then there are people who believe that, well, there are people who believe that the world is flat and then the world is round. So like, how are we exploring space if we still can't even come to an agreement whether the earth is round or flat?
Well, we just touched on something that I'm going to come back to that in a moment. we have to basically stop and make sure we are dealing with common facts, okay? But Hillel, go ahead, okay? Come on.
I just want to start by saying that I'm like a very even 50-50 split, like half and half, on that. It's both good and it's way too soon for us to do it. So one, in admitting that space exploration is just really cool, getting that out of the way, is that if we go into space, we need to do it for a very specific purpose that has an actual benefit to humankind. And that purpose, in my opinion, should be getting the the non-renewable resources such as iron, any metals, anything that's non-renewable, carbon, whatever, should be coming from space because Earth has a limited set of materials and we're running out very quickly. I think the asteroid is called Psyche, which is like 90% of just all the metals that we use every day, right? 90%, it's like 90% iron or something like that. I forget what it is exactly, but it's something very good. It's a very large asteroid too that could probably supply us for like a fairly decent time. It could probably supply a small country for years and years. The reason why I say it's too early is because we don't really have a way to get those materials from point A, wherever it is in space, back to Earth reasonably. And a good example of that is the Boeing rocket, where for those who don't know, the Boeing rocket went into space and was supposed to land back. However, when they were going to dock onto the ISS, the thrusters they used to help them guide into the docking port overheated. And the astronauts there were like, no, this is way too dangerous. We're not going to risk the Boeing pilot's life. Or sorry, both the two pilots' lives. And they've been stuck there for how long? Do you know how long?
That's good to me.
It's a new record. I know it's a new record. It's like 79, 80 days by now, right?
So is it fair to say we should go for the resources,
Yes.
but we shouldn't go because we really don't have the technology in place yet?
Yeah, because think about it like this. If you spend millions of dollars and thousands of resources to gain back resources that is less than what you spent, that's a net loss, right? There's no point in going to space if we're dealing with a net loss. And then the second point is that we haven't explored our underwater system at all.
Sure.
Because deep water we barely know anything about it. Almost all the work you would find on deep water is entirely fiction.
Well, this is what James Cameron has said.
Yes.
Is that we need to be doing a lot more exploration of our own oceans and waterways and lakes and things because there's so much we don't know yet. Okay, let's stop for a second and make sure we've got everything that was important. We are getting some good notes up there. We want to make sure we can read them. That's good. Yeah, you're fast. Okay. If your hand gets tired, let us know. Now, we need to come back to something before we continue because when we have discussions like this, we need to agree on the facts. And this is something I wanted to touch on today in sources, but I'm going to touch on it now because this is the moment. Mikausi has said something that's interesting. She said, well, you could be a flat earther or you could be a person who believes the planet's an oval shape or round, but not a flat earth. The other way? Okay.
You believe that the Earth's flat. Okay, there are people who believe that the Earth's flat.
Yes.
But really, it's circle.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can we?
What is it?
She didn't say it was a circle.
Yeah.
I said it was a circle.
Round, we'll just say round for the sake of round or flat, but I want to make sure we all agree going forwards that there is a fact and it's scientific that the planet is round.
Yeah.
Everyone, there's nobody? Okay, good, because some people have opinions. Some people have opinions today and they may even become an influencer online and they may even make a very strong case, but we need to be able to have good discussions on things that we agree on and there are basic facts. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
I mean,
Yeah. All right, excellent. Okay, so we agree on that. Let's continue. Okay, let's continue. And I want to make sure we have a strong view put forward of let's go there. And it seems like Jazeel is the one who's going to make that. Okay, go ahead, Gigi, and then we'll come back to Jazeel.
I just had a quick question back then. I just was wondering if there's anybody in the room right now who is 100% for exploration, space exploration right now.
I'm hearing.
I think it's
You
100%.
right now.
That depends. What does 100% mean? Do we spend the entirety of economy supporting space exploration, or is it like the U.S. military budget style? Like, let's say I put, instead of $700 billion on the U.S. military, I put it on space exploration. Or is it something like that?
I mean, are you for space exploration right now, or are
I
you
am.
not for exploration right
For-
now?
It's for.
Yes, for right now.
For.
No, okay, yes, I am for space exploration, and I believe they should invest more in space exploration.
Okay, so.
Go on, go. Oh, Dylan.
Can I clarify?
Yeah. Hold on, Gigi. This is very good because now we have a very clear two perspectives. Jazeel has said even more clearly that we should be going and we should go now, and more money should be invested, not less. And we have over here definitely not. So, Faithlin, go ahead.
I just want to clarify the sides. This side, is it for people who support space
Yes,
exploration
yes.
as a whole, or specifically want space exploration now?
They want space exploration as a whole, I think. Jazeel wants, and right now.
And people on this side are totally against it.
Or wait and see this, like, hold on, wait, we're not sure, you know, or even no, don't go now, wait, or don't go at all for a long time. What's that?
It's not really two sides.
Okay.
They want to go right now, and they're for it 100%, and we don't want to go right now.
Don't think of it as two sides, think of it as.
But why are we exploring
It's okay.
space?
Faithlin, is it clear?
There's a misunderstanding.
Okay, yeah.
Is it good? Okay.
I believe there's a misunderstanding. What we meant by going now is not leave the planet and just explore the space. It's meant research on space exploration.
What is the point?
Can I go back?
Gigi, you guys go ahead.
So, my question to you is, why, out of all of the problems humanity is facing, why space exploration is your top priority?
It's, well, how should I say? Humanity has been facing problems since its evolution, and it's the start of civilization. We've been through 2 world wars, we've been through Cold War, thousands of nuclear testings, and today is like the most peaceful times, I would say, compared to what we've been through. And we've been, if I had to check, last time, I would say about 200 years ago, we were still supporting slavery, and we were fighting each other with muskets and bayonets. So what's stopping us? It's today we are able to explore space. There's private sectors that supports it. Governments should fund more on it.
Why should they not fund more on the issues that are happening on Earth?
Can I see something?
Let Jazeel answer, okay? This
Give
is
me one example.
Example, Exhibit A, what's happening in the Middle East. There are people starving around the world hunger. I don't know, like what's happening in Palestine, like climate change. The people in Canada can't afford groceries.
Quality.
Equity, like we have so much like problems that's happening right now. Like it's I want to like circle back to what you said, like said.
But these
We are
cannot
on-
be solved by
I let
money.
you speak when you were speaking.
okay. Hold on. Finish, McAllister. Finish. Go ahead. And
Yeah.
then,
Like you said, that we are at the most peaceful time right now. and I disagree with that because, but yes, like a few hundred years ago, like we were fighting with
Muskets and bayonets.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah, like we were fighting like with like our like swords and whatnot, right? But like now we're fighting with technology. We're fighting with like
Nuclear weapons, yep,
Exactly.
atomic weapons.
We're dropping nukes in countries, children are dying, people are dying every
I
single
think you
day.
misunderstand. The last time we dropped a nuclear bomb, it was like 70 to 80 years ago.
Okay, not a nuclear bomb, but like a bomb was dropped on the Gaza Strip just a few months ago. It's probably being dropped right now.
That has been
So,
happening for.
Stuff are still being dropped. No, stuff is still defying laws of gravity and falling. Actually, no, gravity is like proving that it's dropping.
We cannot stop conflict
No,
everywhere. That is not
Exactly,
possible.
we can't stop it. So why should we go to space and take this same problem to space? Because I promise you, we are human beings.
That's a very
And
good
our problems
question.
will come with us.
This has come up a lot. This has come up. How do we ensure that we don't take the same problems we have here and make them even worse?
During the space race, was one of the eras where nuclear testing was actually minimized. I would say it was focused on space exploration. There was a competition in a peaceful way. I would say this is not an example that I should be saying. This is not a good one. But I would say this. This has led to several inventions like water purification. And I kept a list here in my phone.
You're saying that we gain from space exploration.
Talking a lot.
Are you saying we should make the space race part of the
No.
Olympics?
I didn't say this is a good example. I said from the beginning this is not a good example. I'm just saying that this helps distract or stop certain conflicts that was happening.
Okay, let's give others a chance, okay? We're gonna call, and that's Ethan, yeah, sure. So Ethan and then Hillel, okay? Because Ethan has his hand up and then we're gonna go, but we'll come back, okay? But the idea will be, in about 5 minutes or so, we'll check in with this group here and see if any of them are leaning one way or the other, or they're still here. Ethan, go ahead.
I'll just start off by saying, like, I do think that we should solve a lot of the problems we have here first. But I'm also going to say that I think a lot of the reason why some people are going towards space exploration instead of solving a lot of the problems we have now is just quite simply it's easier. Without, like Colin was saying, from the unity, without literally it's all being unified as a human race, we're not going to be able to fix all those issues. So, quite frankly, I feel like it's going to be more instead of solving their issues here, they're going to take the easier route as humans have been known to do. Just jump. But I agree with you guys that we should solve a lot of stuff here, but I think that's just what caused people to transition more. Let's GTFO and start fresh versus fix what we have.
Is that the intention, to explore space, to escape the problem on Earth? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm wondering what the intention is.
Well, that, I never thought about that, but like when you bring that up and make me think about it, it's hard because I sort of talked about actually like the space exploration in my assignment 2 and I got up when we'd be passengers. Now sort of bringing up like if we did end up getting out of the Earth, it's gonna be a money grab, right? Or you're gonna have to pay to get out. It's just only gonna benefit the rich. But I would say space exploration, unless like Colin says, the whole human race is unified, if it's just governments and stuff doing it, it's gonna result in a lot of like stuff for money and like greed, things like that, like the resources, right? They're gonna take the resources and use it for exactly. So unless we're unified, the number one thing is I think we need to be unified. Otherwise, space exploration realistically will happen for a while, and our problems won't be solved.
If the unity does not exist down here enough, then we're gonna simply be taking disunity into space, which is not the right way to go. Okay, this is Hillel, and then we're gonna go to Billy.
Okay, so one thing I didn't mention when I was up there talking, because I felt like other people had already said it enough, was that going to space can also make the problems on Earth significantly worse. Right? So here, let's use the Cold War as an example. So the reason why nuclear testing and all the weapons production has slowed down was because America and Russia got tired and they literally could not keep up war anymore. So they're like, okay, we need to get a like a more of like a mental victory over them, or like a morale victory, where whoever reached the moon first, planted the flag, and got back home safely would have won that part of the war. The problem is that if we go to space for resources, and if it's individual countries, what happens when two countries who desperately need iron or flint or whatever metals that they need for production, like China and America or Russia and America, I can't think of any other Western examples that have low resources right now other than America. What happens when those two countries want the same asteroid, right? What happens when they decide, hey, we need to just attempt, we need to force them to get away from this thing because we desperately need this more than they do, right? And then it comes into the monopoly thing. Well, if we get too good at something, we make it monopolized, right? We got too good at mining resources on Earth, and now all the resources are almost gone. If we get too good at mining resources in space, hey, guess what? We're grabbing asteroids from space, moving them onto Earth, or mining them in space, which is no idea if we try to do that in practice. And now, hey, everyone's fighting over the same resources just in space, and we're wasting even more money and resources on stupid, pointless wars that were made for stupid.
This is a really good point, and it sounds like you should be over there because you're making a very good
I
point
don't like
for.
Happy to have you.
Hold on. We want to get Curtis in, and then we've got to kind of come back to a bit of a conclusion. We're just touching on things today because I want to make sure Gigi has a chance to address some questions. Then I want to let you go to 30. Okay?
That's Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. Dylan first. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, just like the reason why I'm like mainly in the middle is because like I do agree we have so many issues on Earth with dealing with like we're harming on the planet every day, like the atmosphere, we're killing it, like climate change is happening, that's big and all. But I also agree with going into space exploration because I think it's good to sustain some life form on another planet. As like we know in the past of like Earth's history, it's always has reset itself at some point. And you never know when that point's gonna come. And like it's like today now for the people who are saying we shouldn't go to space. It's like, okay, what's your plan? If there's a natural disaster that happened with Earth and it's caused human extinction, what do you do then? There's no backup plan for that. Maybe you got 4 astronauts up in the ISS, and maybe they come back down. And not really much for her to do after that once everyone's pretty much killed because Earth's resetting itself somewhere, right?
I want to give you a perspective that maybe you will understand as soon as you hear it, but you may not have thought about it just because I'm a little bit older and I remember something, okay? It will help you. This is making a case for why I might stand Jazeel right now on this. Yeah. Yeah. In the 1960s, when I was a child, I was born in 1962, all through the 1960s was the great Apollo space missions driven by the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States over who would put the first human being standing on the moon. And in 1968, 6 months before Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, in the summer of 1969, there was a mission, an Apollo mission, in which the 3 astronauts ostensibly were going to go into orbit around the moon and take pictures of the moon, but not land yet. But then something happened as they were going around. They saw the Earth in the distance rising. And it was the first time that humans had ever seen the Earth whole, real. The picture is called Earthrise. You may have heard of it, Earthrise. Christmas morning, 1968, I will never forget, nor would hundreds of millions of people who watched this around the world. This was the cutting edge at that moment of space exploration. The astronaut, forget his name, there were 3 of them, he started on live television on Christmas morning, December 25th, 1968, showing on live television Earth to everybody, because the spacecraft was going around the moon, and on the edge of the horizon of the moon in the distance, you could see the Earth beginning to rise up in the sun. And he started to read from the scriptures. He went back to Genesis, and he started to read about, that man came to this planet, and the spiritual moment for everybody watching at that time was momentous. It was the first time in the history of human society that we were seeing the planet live whole for the first time. It was said after that humanity was entering a new era. Today it's called the term the overview effect. Some of you may have heard of this before. Astronauts will talk about this. It's the effect that having that picture of the whole planet for the first time, having the overview of us in the blackness of space, showed all of humanity how beautiful, how fragile, and how unified we really are on here, down there on planet Earth. And it was said by philosophers and poets and many others after that what the human race had just witnessed at that moment, that picture, is going to take them generations to understand that the human mind is not yet ready for the fact that we actually are all together on this one planet. It's going to take us a long time to get there. We're still in much older ways of looking at our existence. But that consciousness was not driven ultimately by war, by the Cold War, by money. It was driven by human curiosity and the desire for all of us to understand our place in the universe. And we did at that moment. And it was significant. I would never forget that. And so I would stand with Gazelle and say something like, we need to keep going further and further to understand the true reality of our existence. We now know we are all on one planet. We know that. You can't deny that. It's real. And we know that that planet is inside a living system, outside of which everything is not living, is just not alive. So all of these things are critical for our understanding of who we are as humans. And so we had to go there. We had to be on the moon. Even though we were driven maybe by other modes, humans need to see that to understand the reality of who we really are. Yeah, that's it. Make sense?
Why are we disregarding the fact that we are going to explore like an entire galaxy and we haven't even finished exploring the quote unquote small galaxy that we're living in right now? Why are we disregarding that?
Well, because I would say maybe.
Because this is a part of our existence too.
How important is it for you to think freely and explore what you want, Metalcia? Like, do you want anybody to be standing in your way when you're curious about something? When you really want to get there and go there, don't you just want to go there? To hell with everybody else. I gotta go.
Yeah, okay, I see where you're going with this, right? Like everyone, like they want to know what's happening in space, right? But at the end of the day, it's like a mathematical equation. You cannot just skip to this, like you cannot just skip to the sum of the equation before like you're working it out, like before you do your multiplication, your division, and your subtraction and whatever. Because like
think it through. Absolutely.
like the Earth is all part of space. So like to start somewhere, I suggest we start where we are right now. Explore the world. Like why is the world 80% covered in water? And like why only like what 20% of that has been discovered? Let's start there before we go to space.
Okay. Now, hold on. we're getting to the end, and I wanted to give Gigi a chance to address something she didn't address. And also Ethan has his hand up and we have our notes. So first, let Ethan speak, then come to Gigi, and then we need to conclude. But we're just launching space exploration in this class. We're gonna come back to this next week, and we're gonna look at some real research that's being done. What are we learning about other planets? Just this week, we're learning more about Uranus, the news on Uranus. Just this week, we've learned that the universe is expanding faster than we ever thought. Science is bringing us so much new information that's kind of amazing about what we're doing here. So anyways, take that, hold your thought. Ethan, and then we're coming here, okay? Go.
And when you talk about like what we haven't explored here, are you referring to like the deep ocean and stuff like that?
That's it, yeah, there's so much in the ocean we don't know about.
So from what I know and what I did some research on that, so I was curious myself, like why are we doing that? And from what I read, I'm pretty sure it's about the cost. So because of the pressure of the water down below, it actually costs them significantly more to explore that than it is for them to go out to space.
I don't know that. I don't know if that's true or not. That's true.
I've heard
Yeah.
that, right? But like, if we can't even like control what we're living on now, right? Like control the exploration of what we're living on now. Like, why do we believe that? I mean, like, yes, we are allowed to believe this and we're allowed to think this. We're allowed to be delusional, okay? We're allowed to be delusional. Like, but like, why do we believe that we can go to space and think it won't be the same? Because the ocean is just like space. Like, I've heard a lot of people say that the ocean is just like space. It's vast and it's dark and it's cold.
Well, I think we've established we've got to get into the ocean. It's a great, form. But I got to wrap this up. I want to make sure that everyone gets. Faithlin, Gigi wanted to address some things that she felt weren't answered. And one of my responsibilities as your teacher, professor, educator is always to be able to answer clearly so that you can understand more. And if I don't know, I will tell you. So let's make sure, Gigi, if there's anything you felt was not addressed from last week, go ahead. And Ida, to save that, just leave that up there, okay? And can you continue? Well, yeah, good, okay. So, Gigi, what could be cleared up or was not, that I didn't answer? I apologize if I didn't answer. Go ahead.
Well, I know that this topic has since been wrapped up, and I do think I was asking these questions in a heated moment as well. I would like to admit that.
That's okay.
Also, but I just think with all of our lessons on the politics, I felt like, not that there was an agenda, but I felt like there was not a lot of room for people who had an opposing view than yours, and your view was very clear to everyone, and I think we can agree. So I just wanted to ask if you feel that, if you feel Kamala Harris has ever been hypocritical towards her views on the wall and marijuana, and is it okay for you to call her a hypocrite like Trump?
Yes.
As well?
In a word, as you want, yes, absolutely. And I have no agenda. I get a bit passionate too.
That's why
my
I said
passions get away from me,
was.
but there's no secret agenda here. By the way, I just want you to know that. It's just. Yeah.
Do you think that Donald Trump has a better relationship with Russia than Kamala Harris?
With the current leader, yes. Vladimir Putin, he absolutely does.
Do you think that might be in America's and other countries' best interest for Donald Trump to have a relationship with Putin, as opposed to Kamala Harris and having no relationship at all? Like, it seems to me personally that I think it's a good thing that they are not opposing partners, that they can work well together. I think that with everything that's going on, they would want to be, it's good for them to be allies.
So that there will be more peace in the world?
I think that just might save Canada.
I would say this. I would like
Gigi to write, Ida to write something on the board so we make sure we're dealing with the right information. There's a website, an organization that's excellent for information. Have any of you ever heard of factcheck.org? Do you know factcheck.org?
I've used it.
We have to use it in high school.
Good, okay. Did you feel that it was a good place to go, or did you feel you were just using it because you were told to use it? Because I want to make sure that to answer your question about this, I want to use information on which we all agree, and there's certain facts about Vladimir Putin and the way that he has gone about governing Russia that are extremely disturbing. And so to answer your question of whether a relationship with him would be good for the world means we need to understand who this person is that we would be having a relationship with, Vladimir Putin. And factcheck.org could help us with that, okay? So just want to make sure, factcheck.org, why don't I just answer this because we have to.
We can move on to that question.
No, I'm going to end the class. I want to make sure, does that answer the critical question you had about just, I appreciate what you're saying about passion, get the better of you, but I want you to know there's no secret agenda ever. I never come in here thinking I want to persuade students. It's just that sometimes my passion gets carried away.
And I didn't think that, but I just wanted to make sure.
No, never. I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror as an educator if I knew that I'm coming in trying to change or I have a secret agenda. That would be, you would lose trust. Your trust is very important, that you believe I will do a good job as a student. I lose that, I lose the students. So, no agenda. Promise. Okay.
Can I say one more?
Go ahead.
And then if we have a second, I would like to hear what they have to say.
Okay.
So my last question is, when in regards to the economy, do you think that it was better when Trump was in power or when Biden was in power? And then I have another question.
Well, I would, next week, let's start with the class with factcheck.org where they have an entire page with graphs and data that they gathered all through his first administration to answer that very question.
Do you think then that General Booth would have done a better job with the economy than Donald Trump? That might be a better question.
According to the data that factcheck.org presents, there's a very interesting problem that's coming.
Personalized opinion.
What's that?
So like just like a personalized opinion, no data, no fact check. It's like what you think. From like
What do I think?
Yeah.
Well, I want to go from what the data says, but here's what happened that's very important to keep in mind to answer your question. And I'm not, no bias, I think. While Donald Trump was president in the first administration from 2016 to 20, the pandemic happened. The country needed a stimulus. It's called a stimulus. More money had to be put in, almost like it had to be printed. And I'm not sure exactly how that works. I'm not an economist, but the economy had to be stimulated by the government. Money had to be borrowed or made. And the US ran up a huge deficit. So did we. Justin Trudeau has done the same. Borrow, borrow, borrow. What's beginning to happen with the inflation that many have been experiencing is that when you have a big debt, eventually you're going to have to deal with that because one of the results of big debt is inflation. So it does seem like the very problem of inflation that led to many voters voting for Donald Trump to come and make the economy better, to bring inflation down, was in part caused by him when he was president, because he borrowed so much. And this is consistent, not just with him, but this thing called capitalism, the system we live in today, which is borrow first,
worry about paying the debt later. Now we have disinflation. We've got to get inflation down. And the British are learning this now. The current new prime minister, who started this new package of stringent cuts to their programs. They're trying to get inflation down. So it's complicated. And I think that he's part of the problem, not the solution. That's the answer, okay? With Kamala, yeah, she's part of the problem. I just would have loved to have seen a woman.
Same.
There you go.
But it's bigger than that.
Yeah, it is. It is bigger than that. It is bigger than that.
That's
Yeah. I want to see something new. Okay, that would be new for me. But that's my opinion, okay? But okay, let's stop. Because
Can I just
Guys-
hear what they say?
What's that?
I just want to hear what they
Who?
want to say, the people that have it comes up. Ethan.
Got a great mind. Then okay, then we're gonna finish it on our own time. We'll and if you can go over to the pit to see Repair Cafe, please go over there and say hello to me. But we have 5 more minutes, okay? And we'll end when you tell me to end. But there's another class that comes in, so we may get kicked out.
We have a local politician saying the people.
Okay, so hold on. If you have to go, you have to go. But I'm here always for the students. So who is gonna fill out? And then Faith Lynn wants to say, go ahead.
So
Good.
The first point I'm going to go over is the Kamala Harris's loss, and it was kind of her own fault.
Is that on?
Is it on?
It's not.
It is. Okay, just go. Yeah, speak into it.
Just saying this really quick. The first one I want to go over is Kamala Harris's loss and how it was kind of her own fault. So what happened was, to make a really quick TLDR, is essentially that the working class was almost completely abandoned by our campaign. And the working class was Biden's main source of votes, right? Hence that being cut off, which is why one of the big reasons why she lost was that. And the second one was her not making promises that didn't really seem realistic, which I don't have sources for that. I will find that next.
No, but she didn't say much during the campaign. There's truth to that.
She didn't really say
Her
much.
campaign is mostly
But
defaming.
hold on. Okay, go.
She didn't really say much. Now, about the Trump fixing the economy part, he is, I think he will do it in a slightly better way. Oh, sorry, he will do it in a slightly better way. But he's doing it in a weird way, like adding tariffs too, the 20% tariffs to the economy. For those who don't know, a tariff is basically if you're exporting or importing goods from a different country, 20% of that will basically be taken from it. You have to pay an extra 20%. That extra 20% goes to the government, which means, hey, the government gets more money, which means that the American economy has more. But companies don't care. They're just going to pay China to do more because China and other countries have the cheapest for those materials to come in, right?
How could Walmart have ever become Walmart without China?
Right?
If
you look at the amount of importation-
How many products in Walmart, the great American, are made in China? Okay. Ida wants to say something? Yeah.
The tariffs come out of our, like, the citizens' pockets, the government isn't really paying anything. They're just getting more money, which I get. Who gets paid?
The government from the tariffs.
Yeah,
It's a tax.
but it's our money that's going to them. They're not the ones who are paying for the tariffs. They can say that there's an extra tariff, but we're the ones who are paying for it. The money is going from our pockets.
No.
Yeah,
The government gets paid the tariff.
yeah.
The companies hike up the price that
company pays the government.
But it's gonna, like, it's
Yeah,
just.
we pay the company.
But how are we paying, for the tariff? Ida? How would we
It's
be?
added onto the cost of the product, right? Yeah.
Good point.
I don't see how that's a
The
good
consumer.
thing though.
The
I
consumer
don't, like, as a consumer.
pays for more for that product because there's a tariff that's been put on that.
Wouldn't they want to pay more for something made in America? though?
No, they can pay less in.
I'm pretty sure you pay more stuff for stuff that's made locally than China. Obviously, it's cheaper to get it from China, but it's more expensive.
But now even stuff from China is gonna be more expensive.
So
it doesn't matter.
The thing is that what's easier for them? So obviously supply and demand. So ignoring the demand, let's focus on the supply. Someone gave me a random item that we use every day. Anything that's imported happens in China, and I can think of it. Phones, sure. CPAs, that's a great. CPUs are great. We all have CPUs in some type of device on our phones, right? CPUs are. Can I?
There's only two manufacturers in the world for CPUs today, for AMD and Intel. And they're both
In Taiwan? Are they Taiwanese?
Yes, Intel is going.
They're both
Yeah, one's in Taiwan and one's in China, I'm pretty sure. The only two
Both in the East.
factories actually produce the actual
Taiwan makes 95% of the CPUs in the entire world, and CPUs are used in almost everything. Have 90, majority of the technology in this room, minus the lights, have CPUs in them, right? They're basically a really annoying bitch to make. And the main thing what I'm trying to say is that companies don't care about making stuff in America. They're just going to hike up prices to make up for the price loss because trying to make something like that's that heavily needed in America when you don't have the resources is just not feasible. They're gonna, yeah, exactly. They're monopolizing. It's two companies that are gonna monopolize it, obviously, but it's just not feasible to make certain things in America. It's just way better for them to just keep on buying from Taiwan, hike up the prices by 20% to 25% even.
If they just made it here, we basically become North Korea.
That's it.
Where if you lessen
Microphone, please. So the recording students.
if you lessen imports, like North Korea has no near nil imports.
Nothing. That's a little bit of China. Yeah.
But it makes it so that their economy is absolutely horrible. Because money has to flow, it has to go around, it has to come back, it has to work. So if you're only making what you need in your country or wherever, it's not gonna go well. Like you can with certain things, like there's totally things that like can't be imported, like say saline. We should probably have a good saline company here in wherever, just so you don't have to heavily rely on imports for that, because that is like a very important thing. But like technology, tech, import it. If it's cheaper, import it, or even quality make. They have the skills, the technology over in China that we could probably very easily replicate. Just it might not be to the same standards.
Well, the study that I did touch on last week, I want to spend more time with to be able to explain that when you do simply make all of the things in your own country and you don't engage with the rest of the world, your economy does get weaker, not stronger. Jobs get more difficult to come by. We need to be learning from each other, but I want to be able to bring that study to the class when I fully
Is that
understand.
the UK study? With
Yeah.
50 countries?
51.
51.
Yeah,
They actually-
51
they
countries.
actually-
Yeah. Did you hear about it?
You told me about it.
Yeah, that's right, okay.
You just told us about it.
Go ahead, yeah.
And then I also want to add a thing about the jobs. People say that this is better for the job market because more jobs are being made in an industry where 90% of the work is done by machines, where humans aren't really needed in factories as much as they were before. And majority of the import-related jobs are like majority of things that we import are made in factories, which is where all the jobs are coming from. So it's just it's just such a small game, if any game, to add tariffs. So I think Trump will try to fix the economy like in a serious manner, but I don't think he's going to succeed with how he's going right now. Tariffs are absolutely not the way to go at all.
Well, I have a suggestion. If any of you would like a really good topic for your final assignment, it's coming with an assignment sheet as well. You have lots of choices. Trying to explain how is artificial intelligence going to affect the job market.
Oh, that's a good
Boy, talk about your own future as you're going into this in the next 30, 40 years.
They've already made ChatGPT a body.
Gordon, that can affect the job market.
They've already made ChatGPT a body that can
Already we're seeing, higher unemployment as a result of job losses related to AI.
My final question for you is, if you don't think Trump will succeed in fixing the economy, what would Kamala have done to fix it? And do you think she would have been able to do a good job, bad job? Can you tell me a little bit about her?
Okay, so going back to the part where I said she abandoned the working class, when Biden had his administration, remember how Biden had all of the benefits for students, how he got rid of multiple student loans. He tried
To bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He tried to make the job market a lot less tense by forcing companies to have a job. He did make diversity rules better in a few states, not every state though. A couple states denied the diversity rule changes, but it was basically, the rules was basically, oh yeah, cool. Here's these minority groups, just make sure you have this number of those.
So would Kamala have continued that? I think that's probably
Yeah, that's
what
my
Gigi
question.
wants to know is, would she have just continued those same policies or?
No, she didn't make a single promise related to those policies. To my knowledge, I'm potentially forgetting something.
Okay, I just was asking because I know you were saying that you don't think the tariffs are a good idea, so I'm just wondering if there was another idea in place from Kamala, but I obviously.
She didn't give any ideas. That was my problem with Camilla. That's why I thought she wouldn't win either. Because like her, this way I can say it. Her entire campaign was a nothing burger.
A
A nothing burger.
There's no meat, nothing in the burger.
It's just
Nothing
bread,
there.
bread,
Propaganda.
maybe lettuce,
So that.
right? And Trump is going to do a better job than Camilla fixing the economy as concerned. If he does fix the economy, if you're going by what does the least amount of damage in the economy, Trump wins that easily, right?
Well, I would beg to, we will look next week at the factcheck.org page to see what the general conclusion is based on data of his first administration.
Yeah.
We'll do that next week, but we're going to continue. But keep going. Tell me when. I just got to check if they want to come in. But go ahead, okay? And I'll be right back.
One thing I actually did just realize though, after I thought about it, after I stopped talking, was tariffs are probably better for food imports.
Just use want to talk, and I want to let do it. No.
Literally,
We're gonna have to wrap it up because Professor said.
No, we still have time.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, we've got 10 minutes. So finish your points. Okay. We have 10 minutes. 5 minutes. He's being generous. 5 minutes. So finish your points. Okay, and make sure. What I like about what I see here is there's a real desire to understand a complicated world, and that's always in my agenda, is to help you understand it, if I can. Okay. So 5 minutes. What do you want to know from each other?
What was it saying? Food, tariffs, food. Tariffs are better for the economy if we're talking purely about food.
You sure about that?
Maybe.
It depends. It helps
I'm
the
not
farmers.
100%
I think that, oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. For the recording, because students are going to be watching this. They like to hear what you guys have to say.
I don't have
Tariffs might be a good idea if it's on specific things, like tech. Tech's a luxury, like luxury. I can just raise my voice.
Yeah.
But then I don't have to with this. Food is a good thing to have.
Yeah.
If you tariff it, the companies will just up the prices and make it so that it's even harder to just get the basic necessity of.
We'll be paying more, right? Let's eat us it. We'll be paying more.
If you want to put tariffs on tablets or on computers, monitor screens, mouses, not everybody needs them. Some people are good with just pencil and paper, or even just go to the local library and use theirs. So, food, no, tech maybe.
I mean, it's not.
And especially like if you people like furniture, especially. Like you don't need a fancy bed.
No.
There's
Not just on
already
the
a big
ground.
tariff on food.
I can't.
In US, there's already a big tariff on food that already exists to protect the local farmers, and they already sell the food cheaply. I understand this point, that in a sense, it's a national security. Let's say I cut off my foods. Let's say another country like China sells food way cheaper, like so cheap that the farmers in that nation goes out of business. Like we don't need the farmers. We got cheaper products from China and the Argentina and other nations. And they suddenly decided, yeah, we're not selling it. Who's gonna, or how are we gonna grow our crops? Because we lost a whole industry of farmers there. That's the reason why tariffs exist. It's to protect the local farmers in case a national emergency or anything happens.
What do you think, Hello?
That was my point. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. A good example of that actually is North Korea and China again. North Korea gets 90% of their food imports from China. If China just spontaneously decided to say, hey, no food for you, they starve more than they already are, but they starve.
I just add that
That's a
the
horrible
majority of this is
That's a
like
horrible joke to
first
mention.
world problems.
That is not first world problem, that's not Korean issue.
No, I was talking about like majority of the issues we're.
First world problem? No, this is actually happened in third world countries like India and Argentina, second world countries like Argentina. They protect their farmers heavily, each country. We have some countries that did not protect their farmers, some island
Thank you,
nations,
Colin. Yeah.
which led to heavy reliable imports, which is a bad thing in a sense of a long term that we won't see coming.
Okay, only because my colleague has to come in, but other than that, it always pains me to have to end a stupid conversation. It has to end. Way to go, guys. You have discussion post 10 before next week, and have a great week. And I'll see you next Wednesday for more space and more exploration. Yes, Faith, then come.
Is Mars even easier to colonate
Then,
Venus? Because it's
well, Venus is, you can't, Venus is too hot. We can't do anything on Venus. Mars is cool enough. In fact, it's kind of cold there. But Venus is very close to the sun. Mercury and Venus are the two closest planets to the sun. The only reason we have life on Earth here is because we're just in what's called the Goldilocks.
perfect space,
Exactly.
I know
We're
that.
in, but
It's
Venus
just-
is too hot. Venus is just too hot.
It's just that Venus
Let me
is
just save this chat. Yeah. Okay.
just Venus is like 90% like similar to Earth with like the same gravity percent. And stuff
I'm
like
not
that.
sure, but it's a rock. It's hard. Once you get beyond Mars, you're getting into just gas planets. You know, there's not. Okay, hold on. I gotta let our colleague come in, and then maybe up here. So I just have to do a few tech things. We're done. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Oh, come on in. And excellent, everybody. So I just need to, for all of you online, thank you, Manjeet, Ashley. Have a good week. I'm going to end.